Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Reino de la Mascaras, the Kingdom of the Masks. I'm your host as always, Ray de Mascaras. Sorry this week is getting uploaded a little bit later. Very short night. The wife and I were down at Time Bomb Pro Wrestling, which is about a 2-hour drive, and went out after the show, hung out with a lot of our friends, our Time Bomb family, and got back up here very, very early in the morning. So, yeah, pretty tired today, but we got a lot to talk about, because obviously we've got the Histeria mask that we're going to cover, but something very cool happened last night. So the wife called her sister, since she lives down in Fargo, and asked if she wanted to come out and have a quick drink with us, and she did. And her and her husband just got back from their honeymoon, and they had souvenirs for us. Wife got a really cool necklace. They actually also got us a dog toy for Dottie. So that was really, really cool. And I can't say enough cool things about this. They got me a mask. They got me a mask. This is so cool. So cool. Yeah, I was flabbergasted when I saw this. It's like, holy wow. Yeah, they got me a mask while they were on their honeymoon. So something very cool. I wanted to touch on that here today because I was very, very touched by it. Very, very appreciative. So this one is going to sit next to another mask that I'm going to talk about on this upcoming Mask Monday, something that means a lot to me, and this is going to sit right next to that mask. It's very, very, very cool that they would think of us on their honeymoon to get us things, but to get me a mask is next level. She's the coolest sister-in-law ever. So wanted to at least highlight that here before we started talking about this week's mask. So very cool. I'll touch on this and the other mask I mentioned come Monday. So today, we're going to talk about this guy right here. And you can't see it on camera, but I've got a little end table now in front of me. So I don't have to reach down all the way to the floor or reach all around me to grab a mask. It's right there, just off camera a little bit. So today we are going to talk about this guy right here. Now, for you lifelong, I don't want to say lifelong, but fans of the 1990s Lucha Libre scene, you'll recognize this right off the get-go. This is Histeria. Histeria was part of the original lineup of Los Vipers and was portrayed, at least for a very short time, by the man that we would all become to know, Super Crazy. So this mask, not only would you see it on AAA TV in the 90s, you also saw this on occasion during the WWF Shotgun Saturday Night and Super Astros show. Unfortunately, most notably once during a singles match, Histeria was talked about, named, and otherwise mentioned as Venom, and vice versa. Kind of similar to the Atlantis Lizmark debacle in WCW in their later days as well. But this mask here was kind of known as the High Spots mask because High Spots sold this one extensively in the 90s and early 2000s. Oddly enough, this is where I got it. I did not get it that far back. I got this one just a couple of years ago. But this mask was purchased and worn extensively in the 90s. You know, if you had a mask character on your local independent scene, chances are this is what he was wearing, this particular mask. Maybe not the same color scheme, but the same design. But anyway, this one I picked up, just kind of a random pickup from High Spots. I was going through their mask selection one day, and lo and behold, this one caught my eye. And it's a beauty. It's an absolute beauty. It's one of my favorites in terms of the older classic mask. But you can see here it's got the backing here, really really cool. You can see it doesn't get in the way. So, you know, I've got a lot of masks that have the decoratives similar to this, and they just kind of tend to flop all over. I can kind of show you a little bit here. When you put it on, and sometimes it's tough because, you know, you don't want to tear at it, you don't want to rip something out. But it looks like here this one was made by Deportes Martinez. Let's see if we can get it on there and get it focused. Sorry, the light is really kind of all over the place there, but yeah, it looks like that's where it was made. MTZ wear on the tag. But this one is pretty heavy duty. You can see the decoratives here, the side piece on the face, very thick. The horn also very thick. The top spikes are a little bit not as solid as the rest, but it's pretty solid. It's something that when I put on, it fits very snugly, and trust me, it's not going anywhere. I believe I wore this for a work meeting one day. I am somebody that does work from home pretty extensively with my job. I am in the office every now and again, but mostly I am remote. So during the pandemic, I kind of got the idea, actually from somebody on Twitter that I follow, a good buddy of mine, Randy, and he would talk about wearing masks to his team functions. So I kind of copped the idea, and it actually got pretty well received from my team. My manager and I talked about it afterwards, and he said, you know, I didn't really like it at first. I kind of rolled my eyes at it. He said, but after a couple of go-arounds, I noticed that the team started being a little more engaged in the meetings and whatnot. So he thought it was kind of cool. He let me roll with it, and to that, it's pretty neat. But I wore this one day, and I think I wore it 10 minutes, and I shut my camera off and I took it off. It was just too much. I've got a few masks that I've worn for that, for team meetings before, and after a while, I added one. I'm trying to think of which one it was. I think it was one of my Teton masks, and I found myself, I really couldn't see the screen. I'm like, okay, I probably need to take this off because I need to be able to see at least when, managers are sharing the screens. So this one didn't last on there, but I've worn it around a few times since, and you get used to it. It's a little easier with this one because you do have a little bit of room for the nose. It's a breathable mask. You don't have to struggle to breathe like some of the ones that I have on here. So anyway, the black and yellow coloring I just love. It matches perfectly. It's like the yellow pops off of the black base. You've got the eye covering, so you can go, if you wanted, you can go total anonymity on this one. Sans the beard. I mean, everybody in my local community knows the beard, so it's like it kind of stick out. But when you're going somewhere where nobody recognizes you, this is one that I would prefer wearing to get that full bit of anonymity. So very cool. One of my favorites. Starting to slowly but surely trying to track down the Moscow de la Merced mask. I need an Abismo Negro mask, obviously. Start kind of collecting these and having a section on my shelf for Los Vipers would be kind of cool. I'd obviously like to do the Space Cadets as well. Those masks are a little harder to come by. I've yet to see a Venom mask, or say like a Discovery Boomerang, stuff like that. So it's on the agenda, but something a little more difficult to track down, if you know what I mean. So that is this week's episode. Thank you all for watching, as always. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. You can see it back there. I got a lot of stuff here we haven't talked about. So I have no problem talking about anything we got back here. So let me know what you want to see. Until next time, again, as always, thank you. And live, laugh, love, Lucha Libre. We'll see you next time.